Keeping track of your accomplishments. Does that even matter? Let's talk about it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Landlord Coach Daily-ish show. My name is Mark Dolfini, your host and your host of the Landlord Coach Daily Show and Landlord Coach. So first of all, before we get on to business, happy Veterans Day to all my fellow veterans out there. And yes, I got a little bit of crap for not wishing my fellow Marines happy birthday yesterday. I did post it on Facebook, but I didn't say anything on the video. I know. It's still, I should still get a ration of crap for it, which I soundly did from my devil dogs, my fellow devil dogs out there. But anyway, happy birthday to my Marines, my fellow Marines, and my fellow veterans. It's all good. Thank you for your sacrifices and all you do. And thank you to the families that are also part of that. You are truly, truly treasured. And we thank you very sincerely from the bottom of all of our hearts. So today we are talking about keeping track of your accomplishments. And that is, does that really matter? Well, I remember back when I was doing and getting involved in buying properties and that sort of thing. And, I remember, tracking the number and, putting little pins in the map and that sort of thing as my territory expanded, right? This game of Risk that I was playing. Truly Risk, and didn't understand the risk. That's sadly ironic that I said that. But one of the things that I was on a video last night with a good friend, this guy, Dave Peters, who has several $1 million worth of real estate. He's a solid dude, and he is all about being debt-free, which I very much dial into what he was saying because of the risk that having debt brings for you. Now, I'm not saying I'm completely debt averse. I was for a really long time because it's like one of those guys who are like, yeah, once you get into a fight and you get smashed in the face with a brick, probably don't really want to rush out into get into another fight right away, right? So it was one of those things where I felt like debt was bad. I didn't want any debt, that sort of thing. But I will admit that having some debt definitely is an important tool for your toolbox. I just don't want to put all of my assets at risk by saddling that with debt, especially the assets that deliver my most basic ability to provide for my family, right? I'm not afraid to go out and get a job if I have to. I mean, whatever I have to do to provide, I'm going to do that. I'm not afraid of that. But once I get to a certain point, I don't want to necessarily saddle those core assets with debt because it puts them at risk, not only for, for my creditors to come grab it, but I just don't want to worry about that stuff, right? I want to free up my bandwidth to do other things. So if I want to grow, I'm going to grow it outside that core, those core assets. And again, there's many different schools of thought on that. I don't want to get into the arguments on that right now, but I'm just letting you know that's kind of my thought. That's where I'm at right now. So as I was growing and I was retiring a lot of debt as I was going on, I would kind of forget. It was easy for me to forget about the debt that I had already paid off. I mean, I had debt that I owed to the IRS. I had debt that I owed to other creditors that had put deficiency judgments against me because, if you're not familiar with what a deficiency judgment is, let's say you lose a property to foreclosure, right? And they loaned you $100,000 and they only get $70,000, right? There's a $30,000 deficiency for which they could come back to you and say, we want our $30,000. Okay. That would be a deficiency judgment. And I had a lot of those, right? That I had to work through and get those things paid off. So as I look back, it was easy for me to forget and feel like I'm not getting anywhere because I was paying that stuff off, but I still had more, coming down the pipeline. So that's why, in my opinion, and Dave had mentioned this last night of keeping track of your accomplishments. And I had started doing this several years ago, but I hadn't really been doing it up until that point because I was forgetting all of the progress that I had been making. And I dug myself out of a like a multi-million-dollar hole. But it's very easy to forget the accomplishments when you're looking at all the, when you're, let's face it, when you're up to your ass in alligators, all you're thinking about is which alligator you're going to kill next. You're not worried about all the 50 of them that you killed along the way, right? I can see animal rights activists lighting me up now. I'm not promoting killing alligators, all right? What I'm saying is that you've got all this stuff that you're trying to get past, and it's easy to forget what you've crawled through. So from that aspect, I would absolutely agree with keeping track of at least what, different metrics in terms of what you've been able to accomplish up to this point. So let's say for argument's sake, you're watching your debt go down. Let's say for argument's sake, that is a critical piece of what you're trying to accomplish. Okay. I would track and chart that overall debt going down. In fact, I do that. I do that very thing. If I have credit card debt that belongs to me, not necessarily my company, but if it's personal debt that belongs to me, my credit card, I will track that credit card debt in relation to the available credit. So I'm going to watch the available credit go up. I'm going to watch watch it go down. And I mean, I do track it month by month because I want to watch that go down. I don't want to just put a raw number out there and go, where's my number at today? Oh, my number is at 10,000. Okay, is that good or bad? Well, in relation to the previous month, if it was at 100, that's very good, right? If the previous month was 1,000, that could be very bad. But if you're just using raw numbers and you're just checking it from time to time, not watching any actual trend, then all you're really doing is you're not, sometimes you can feel like you're not actually getting anywhere, right? So what are some other things that you might want to track? Well, you might want to track cash and your cash growth. Is that something that you would want to do? Is that something that would be important to you, right? That might make sense for you. Would you want to track your revenues and your revenue growth? So in this particular case, if you've got revenues coming in, and let's say your revenues, and you want your revenues to be, say, $10,000 a month, right? And you're currently at $3,000 a month, watching that incremental revenue stream grow month over month. Or what if it shrinks 1 month? Well, what did I do, right? What happened? I'm just saying it could be profits, it could be revenues. You could track any number of things, but just taking those snapshots and tracking them over time is really, really important. So you can say, well, when I get to $10,000 a month, that's when I can stop working a job and do this full time. I will have enough money at that point to pay for my own health care. I would have enough time or I have enough money to start investing on my own, right? Or whatever. I mean, whatever metrics you would want to have. Again, like you could have a debt reduction chart, you could have a cash growth chart, you can have a revenue growth chart, and you can have all these different metrics in terms of liquidity or quick ratio or whatever. All these different metrics that you can track. But the point is you should track them over time and not just a snapshot of where you're at. The other thing that I would suggest is also having tracking the metrics and specifically how you're going to get those results. So for example, we're in the real estate space. If I'm saying, okay, well, I want to, I want to grow my rental portfolio so I can do that. Well, how many offer letters are you putting out there? How many offers are you making? How many lenders, how much marketing are you doing? How much media are you sending out there? Right? And so forth and so on. So those metrics that get you those results, that's going to be important for you to track as well. And then all of a sudden you're tracking it and treating it like the business that it is. Okay. I remember when I first paid off my student loans, this is a key component. I actually don't take my retired debt off that chart because I want to see that, hey, that debt that used to be out there, it is no longer there. And that is a pretty good feeling. That's all I have for today, guys. Please make sure you place a value on your free time. And if you don't, someone else will. And please, today, thank a veteran. Take good care.